to be back with you here. This is Brock Meyer, and just want to share a few thoughts with you this morning about some ideas from the Word of God and where we could be encouraged from what we've been through in life. We see that there's different seasons that we've walked through that have just kind of brought more pain and some different scars that we have throughout life. I remember as a kid, my sister and I, we were jumping up and down on our bed, and I don't know if I tripped and fell. Probably what happened is she pushed me into the bed because she's redhead and she's pretty fired up. And I go diving into the headboard and split open my forehead. I still have a scar on my head today because of that night. The forehead opens, blood is gushing, and kind of how medicinally we handled things 30 years ago was you get a wet rag and just stick it on your head and just hope that it kind of absorbs all the blood and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And over the course of life, we all kind of take on some scars. I know even there's times whenever guys just kind of get around and are like, hey, let me tell you about this scar. Let me tell you about the time that I broke my arm. Hey, look at this scar. And it's almost like a badge of honor. Like I came through something. I endured. There was something about whatever I went through that was powerful. I'll tell you this, our scars are our story. It really is the things that we have endured and sometimes even enjoyed, but we made it through to the other side. When we play it safe a lot of times, we don't have those war wounds. We don't have those scars. But if Jesus is taking us on an adventure, on a ride, sometimes we get dinged along the way, especially when we choose to love someone and we put our heart out there. Our heart can get hurt many, many times. It makes us want to not love. It makes us want to hold back. Maybe we even get hard and bitter because we're just frustrated with how we've been treated over the years. Maybe somebody took from us. We trusted them and they abused that trust. But we walk around wounded and dinged and damaged, but not destroyed. There's still life left in us. In John chapter 20, Jesus is now resurrected from the cross and from the grave, and he comes back and he just walks through this wall and all the disciples are there. And he shows up, and it says at first they didn't recognize him until he showed off his scars. And I think it was not so religious in the sense of how we normally read that text. You know, look at my hands and look at my feet. I think he was hanging out with his guys. And he's like, guys, you got to see, this is where they stuck me through with a sword. Like, put your hand in here. Whoa, is that crazy? Guys, they pierced my hands. They drove railroad spikes through my hands. And they didn't even break any bones, like it went right between my fingers. It was wild. And then they stacked my feet on top of each other and started putting nails through my feet. This was crazy. Look at my back as it's just splayed open from the whippings. On top of his head, the crown of thorns that just were tearing up his skull. He showed the marks of his suffering. And it says, then the disciples realized it was him. I tell you this, Jesus reveals himself with his scars. He shows his marks and he identifies. We could identify who he was because of the pain and the suffering that he endured. I just want to encourage you with this, that whatever the pain, whatever the suffering, whatever the scars that you're wearing in life, to not live in shame because of them. And maybe they were even shameful things, but to ask God to bring some healing, and then to use the pain as a platform to minister to others. Hey, let me tell you about this painful divorce that I walked through and how I came out on the other side, and how you can also have life. Hey, let me talk to you about what it's like to lose a spouse and how hard and painful it is, but there's still life to be lived ahead. Hey, let me tell you about what I've walked through raising kids. It's just been difficult and it's just been hard and painful at times. But let me give you some of the things that I've learned. Scars really are a reminder. Whenever I look at the different scars that I have on my body, I remember that time. I remember the pain. I remember the hurt. But I also remember some of the adventure. And we have this unbelievable, amazing way to wash these memories through the power of forgiveness. To be able to say, not only was I overwhelmed, but I overcame. Not only was it painful, but I persevered. Not only did it hurt, but now I'm healed. And it really can be this place of testimony. Say, hey, put your hands here. Check out the pain that I've walked through. And now let me help you move towards redemption in your own story. Hey, I just want to encourage you this morning, whatever you've walked through, whatever the pain has been, no matter what the hardship has been, there's still good life left to live. Let's not stop in the middle of pain, and definitely don't stop whenever we're hurting. Let's keep busting through, because God's always got more in store for us. Last story I'll share with you. My dad and I, we went on a fun little four-wheeler ride. We were at Attica at the Badlands, and we're riding up this hill, and I come tearing up this hill, and I land on top of it. I look back as my dad's now coming up on a four-wheeler, and he's flying in, but he doesn't have enough speed. And to not have enough speed going up a hill is a terrible strategy for going up a hill. And he gets to the very top, and he looks at me, and he says, I'm not going to make it. I don't have enough speed. And I get off my four-wheeler, and I'm running to him, and I reach out to grab it just as it starts going down backwards. And the wheel goes like this, and it flips backwards and lands on him. And just crinkled plastic and metal are flipping down this hill, and he's just dragging down. Knocks him out. He had a concussion. Blood coming out of his mouth. The four-wheeler landed on his chest. He broke 2 ribs, ended up shattering his wrist. And as we're driving these four-wheelers back to camp, he says, what happened? He asked what happened about 4 times. What happened? What's going on? Went straight to the hospital. He had to have screws and plates and all kinds of stuff put into his arm. But now he's got this scar that comes down, and he'll tell the story. He'll even text me on the anniversary of the date. Hey, do you remember what happened on this date 3 years ago? Oh yeah, I remember that there was an adventure, there was a pain that came with it, but we busted through. It's now a story. I want to encourage you, what's the story that maybe it was painful in the moment, but once it's healed, it can be a powerful platform to help others bust through. So hey, I just want to encourage you this morning, no matter what you've walked through, Jesus is good. And Jesus can identify in all of your wounds and all of your scars, and he wants to bring you through to another level. I want to encourage you with this. Let's go get him.